Okay, market position, and then we talk about target customers. These are the three most important considerations for any business. And even with the larger clients that we're working with, we always go back, we always help them refine, we always go back to make sure that they totally understand their vision, where they're headed, their objectives, and their market position, and then really their target customers. So when we talk about target customers, what we like to do is we like to think about who your current customers are, if you have any. Again, this is difficult if you're just starting out, but essentially if you have been in business a little while, you might have some current customers. They might not all be ideal, but you might have some customers. Then what we want to think about is who your target customers are. Now, if you have customers already, you can start to understand the type of customers you don't want, potentially. And especially when you're starting out, that might be the case. You might get people that don't necessarily value what it is that you do. So you might have a picture of, these people aren't, these types of people are questioning this, or they, it took a long sales process, or, they don't get what it is that we're trying to do. So you might get a picture of the wrong type of client from whoever you're serving right now. What you want to do, even if you don't have existing customers, is start to think about who your ideal client is. Who would you love to work with? Who's going to love what it is that you do? Now, if you've gone through the last exercise and started to think about what makes you different, in the case of the boxing gym, they could start to say, well, mums with small children, mature age people that want to get exercise. They can then start to really narrow down their target audience and who they talk to, who would be the ideal, who will like what they're doing over someone else. So you start to then build a picture or a profile of this person. And this goes deeper than demographics and deeper than their location. We start to think about their psychographics, what these people are made of, what the humans behind them. But a customer persona is what we want to build, this profile. And a customer persona is a hypothetical version of your ideal customers. And so you develop these using your insights. So this could be from the people that you've spoken to that said, oh, that's a great idea, I love that idea. It could be that you have customers that really love what you do, or written you 5-star reviews. It could be that you have some data from a digital platform, and you've got that type of information that helps you determine the type of demographics potentially, or the type of behaviors. So you put all of this together and start to build these profiles. Another really neat trick, and one that's not as often used, is actually speaking to people, is getting a group of people that you think might be interested in your product or service, and getting them in the room, and often offering them some incentive to be there, but just hearing their story. We did this with one of the participants in our marketing program last year. He went on to Upwork. He paid them for an hour or two, I think it was, in the end, and just got them in the room and started not talking about his product necessarily, but just understanding their habits, and when it came to purchasing a product such as his, what they might do. And he got to understand the journey, the thoughts behind it, what it was that they needed, so that he could then use that information not only to build a customer persona, to get a really good understanding of the humans that would like what he does, but actually use the language that they've used in the messaging so that it resonates with those types of people. But also he got an idea of the journey that they would take to find that product, or find his product. So then he could understand the channels in which he should use in order to reach those people, to speak to those people. So don't discount actually speaking to people, actually getting someone in a room, doing a focus group, doing some interviews. Surveys work to a certain degree, but actually people are more likely to answer what they think you want to hear. And it's really, when you're starting out, difficult to get the questioning right, unless you've got a researcher on your team, to ensure that you get sort of open-ended
answers, so that you're not steering them in a certain direction to essentially just validate what you think. So getting people into a room and hearing their story is a really good way of understanding them and building your persona. This is an example for a client that we worked with a number of years ago, but the idea is that we start to get a picture of this person without even having described them as with their age or with their demographics. You're the person who wants to have a positive impact on the world, the adventurer with a conscience. You follow your own path and grasp the opportunity to explore life outdoors. You can't wait for 5 p.m. on a Friday to get out and have your own time. You start to get a bit of a picture for this person, what that person, where that person might be, especially on the weekend. They're certainly not going to be in front of a computer. They might be surfing down on the surf coast. So what we want to do is really, create a person. We want to create a profile, a person that tells a story so that we can understand, we can picture that person. And so if we're being human-centered, we start to think about what would that person want? What would be a great experience for them? Or how can we create a better experience for them throughout the whole process? So customer personas use research, surveys, interviews, focus groups, your target audience. So think about who your good customers might be and your bad customers. As I say, as you're just starting out, often it's really easy, especially in service businesses or professional services businesses, you do tend to take different types of clients or any client that comes your way, but you do then start to discern who the right type of client is, especially in your business, I can imagine too, and those are the people that will value you and what you're doing. So as long as you're providing value, you've got to get the right people, the right customers. And so really it's about thinking about what, sometimes it's easier to think about what makes a bad customer to think then of the opposite of what makes a good customer.